one word that describes me is dynamic. I'm a very dynamic person, and this is evidenced by my profile. I have a blend of medical background, legal, governance, and strategy. So I started my career as a student nurse, where I worked and studied in parallel. Luckily, at that time, we were financed, to go to nursing school. After the nursing school, after I completed my qualification, I worked for a year and a half as a professional nurse in the state hospital. But working there, I realized that I can add more value to the community if I just complement my nursing qualification with an LLB. I then subsequently resigned, and I was lucky to get a job at the Legal Assistance Center, where I started working as a paralegal with a nursing background. Now, I want to fast forward from there. After I started my LLB, joint MBA fund, fast forward, of course, there were also in between hops from job to job. I joined the MBA fund as the executive assistant to the CEO at the time, 2005. I had not completed my LLB at the time. I was doing distance, one course here and another there and so on. So then I gave it my best. I was then promoted through the ranks here and there, became a manager, became a senior manager. But then that's where I stopped, So my qualification then became an impediment to go to the next level. So then I was offered an opportunity to go study full-time, master's degree when I came back. Then I was promoted as a chief corporate affairs. Now from nursing to executive assistant to law to corporate affairs, it's quite a blend of skills that I picked along the way. And that's actually what propelled me to be who I am today. That's my background. I suppose the difficult time that you're talking to is COVID-19, the pandemic that we are all faced with, right? And NIP is really at the center of testing for COVID-19. If a result is not released, the person that undertook the test will not know where am I standing. Secondly, my minister will not know what are the numbers. Thirdly, my president will not know what is the decision I need to take as we move forward. So NIP needs to run the test efficiently, effectively. So what I've done as I started, basically interrogated the process in terms of COVID testing in view of improving our turnaround times. Now, luckily, when I started, I found a project at hand that was running, basically sending negative results on SMS, and that's what we are doing at the moment. So that has improved the turnaround times by far. Further to that, we have a strategy that we want to expand testing in strategic areas so that it's not all centralized in Windhoek, because the logistics to send samples to Windhoek kind of delay the process. So that's one thing we're also working towards. And we're also very busy implementing the state-of-the-art IT system. If we do that, we will be unstoppable. And you have also seen recently that we launched our research trust. We have to start as a country conducting research, medical research into the pathology of diseases that will also inform us. And so that we also are ahead of the diseases, we build capacity locally, we build knowledge locally. That was, I think, 2 weeks ago when we launched our trust. So I relate to you my profile, which is a blend of medical, legal, government, leadership. Now, there is no way I can come into a job like this and think that I can hit the ground running. So first and foremost, for me, was to understand the nuts and bolts of the business, because it's unique to NIP. It's not the hospital where I was working at. But I needed to understand the nuts and bolts of the institution in order to inform the business plan and the budget that we had to finalize before end of financial year. Our financial year ended end of March. That was one of the big assignments I had to undertake, and we were we managed to formulate our business plan and our budget. It's submitted to the minister. We are waiting for approval. And one of the other things that I had to do is to, while we are waiting approval from the minister, is to really create a hype in the institution in terms of this is the new plan, this is the direction we are going to go, and this is what we need to do. So I had a couple of engagements with stakeholders, key stakeholders, and mostly employees, in individuals, in groups, like small groups, and also as a team, the whole NIP team. Now you might know that we are not just in Vintu, we are at 39 locations, and thanks to COVID, that now we have MS Teams and we can reach our teams while we are in Vintu, through the technologies that we have. So stakeholder engagement for me was very critical, and I did engage key stakeholders. And I'm currently now busy finalizing recruitment of critical positions. That's a very important question. Organizations are established and they navigate. As the organizations are navigating, there are built-in blocks that are put in place. Now, there will be good blocks, there will be not so good blocks. So what I'm picking up, I'm picking from the good blocks, and I'm building NIP on the good blocks that have been built in the past. So one of the midterm things that I am going to do to rescue or to stop NIP to its glory days is that the business plan that that was just approved has to do with fix what's broken. Now that's the theme of the business plan. What it means is that we want to fix broken relationships with stakeholders, with customers. We want to fix broken relationships with our media practitioners, with our media partners. We want to fix broken relationships with our shareholder. And I also want to fix broken employee relationships. That is the intention of the business plan. Now, this is an intentional plan based on the history of the organization. It's only going to solidify the foundation that is already been built and really jump-starting NIP to move to the next level. That's the one thing. On a long-term basis, the vision that I have for NIP is to be a customer-centric institution. And I think you wanted to know that already in my early days. Now, what a customer-centric institution is an institution that is empathetic to its customers. Firstly, it knows who the customer is. Secondly, it understands the various segments of the customer, but it also, most importantly, understands the needs of the customer. Now, the customers of today are not easy customers because there are various shops where they can go and shop. Now, you want to attract the customer, build a relationship, and retain the customer. So that is my mission for NIP as we move forward in order to make it a sustainable and profitable and resilient organization. Right, so by design, the position is executive strategy, business development, and stakeholder management. By design, that's the function that this position is supposed to hold. Now, this position is on our organogram. It's not a position I created when I started. It's a position that is on the organogram, and it's a very fundamental position to the organization because we are, as much as we are an SOE, we are a commercial entity, we are almost like a private limited company that ought to compete. We are operating in a competitive space, so we need to have almost a business development person to do the market research and advise the institution. This is how the market is behaving and this is how we should navigate. And that's why I think that's the position. And we started testing COVID on the 10th of March 2020. Until 31st March 2021, we have tested 221,000 of the 347,000 nationwide tests that has been carried out. So that amounts to NIP being testing 63.7% of the total tests that has been tested countrywide. So the 63% that I just spoke to now is a huge contribution of NIP to the ongoing pandemic. I earlier mentioned that if the patient, the doctor, my minister, my president does not know what is the status of that test. A decision cannot be made until the test, the result is delivered, number one. Secondly, until the numbers are put together and there's information that the minister and the president can elicit to take national decisions. So the work that we do is of national essence. It has an impact on national decision making. If you look at when the president announces that he will talk on a certain day, the results that our minister, of course, collects from all the labs need to be ready so that the president announces whether to open, to close, to do this and that. So that's it. That is the essence of what we do in terms of contributing to Namibia in terms of fighting COVID-19. Second to that, NIP has tested in the view of certifying whether we can use the rapid testing kits. We did that. The ministry is still busy, but the minister did announce that we cannot roll out that as yet because there's a subsequent evaluation that needs to be done. And that is our contribution as well, because if the rapid testing is introduced, it's faster. The turnaround time is almost immediate. By design, it says rapid, so it's immediate. It's not the PCR test that has to go through a machine over hours before the result is released. So those are the two things that I can really mention how NIP is playing a role in that space. So I'll talk to four individuals in my life. The first one is my mother. My mother, I'm number 9 of 9. My mother has a subtle philosophy of nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. She will not say it, outright that, this is our philosophy, our operate. But when I reflect upon her life, it's something that she probably carried in herself, but never, it was unspoken. And why am I saying that? I want to give you an example of why I'm saying that, and it's something that all of us benefited from. Now, my mother would listen to the radio. She would keep track of where the cattle auctions, when there are auctions in various towns in Namibia. She would buy refreshments, load on a truck with 1 or 2 people supporting her. She literally would carry the stuff on the truck herself. She would go and sell the refreshments at the auction, regardless of what she needed, whatever it is. And she would come back with a lot of money. To the point that my mom and my dad were able to send all of us to Diaba. The private school at the time? If I'm saying I'm number 9 of 9, you can do the numbers of my siblings. She was able to send us to that private school. And for me, it's something I really look up to. It's like, the odds should not stop you. You should move forward. That's the first personality. The second one is my husband. My husband is an incredibly focused person, almost to the point that there is no traffic on the way. For him, it's like it has to happen, it has to go that way. It has been quite inspiring for me, that regardless of all the distractions in our lives, his plan will always, So I've learned, if you remain focused, you will do what you want to do, regardless of the distractions. The third one is Mr. Mwadino Hamba, Jerry, the CEO of the MVF, and at the time I told you I started as an executive assistant. By the time his term ended, I already was on my way to Germany to go do my master's. I was a senior manager at the time. And for him, I remember there was a time when he said that possibilities all the way. It's like impossibility does not exist in his vocabulary. And that is a philosophy he mentored and coached as a 10-year fund. And that is what NPA Fund became. Best community home for until today. The last one is my God. I submit to God. My greatest influence